Hey everybody, Felix Stoffelbaker here. The memory card was full on the part one, so I didn't get to finish the thought or cut it off with a Stoffelbaker route. But basically I was talking about how all of these people who have been wanting to invest in the next biggest project, the next biggest thing, the next biggest boom, the next part of the new financial system, the new complete.com bubble that was successful. All these different analogies you can equate to investing a small amount of money into a project that's a few years old, that's cutting edge, to taking over the global base layer technology as we know it, equivalent to the TCP of the current internet type of thing, taking over. And we've got just for starters, the CCID, the Chinese Ministry of Research in their institute, going over for blockchain what constitutes an actual usable blockchain, the best blockchain, everything that they need for what they're up to. And if the Chinese can use EOS and use it properly, given their broad populational use of things like WhatsApp and other forms of technology, contact tracing apps, these types of things where it's basically the entire population on the same type of app. Now, don't get me wrong, they're in the traditional, so they can scale in the old way that's not on blockchain or anything like that, but EOS has the potential and has the capabilities to be able to do those types of things, which is when they shift over, like I said in the first part, 24 rankings, and EOS is number one. I mean, if you were willing to place a $100 bet, you should probably put it into EOS versus all the other projects when you look at the information coming out of just one source like that. And then you've got all these different connections. I mean, it's endless with Gary Gensler, Marty Chavez, Brennan Bloomer, Angermeyer, Bacon, Novogratz, Thiel, just all these powerhouses and all these people who've been globally connected through the macro scene, through global finance and banking, through regulation and legislative processes throughout parts of the world, different parts of the world, whether it's international banking all the way down to federal banking and those types of things, whether it's billionaires, startups funded through billionaire VCs and hedge fund managers and these types of things. I mean, it's all just so obvious. At this point, I'm just exhausted explaining basically for years how obvious EOS is, how obvious this brand new asset class is, how obvious it is that the people who have the capability to put it in charge, who want it to succeed, who invest in things that succeed, all want and are working day and night to make this happen. How just somehow Cardano is going to make it. I mean, get out of here. That's not even part of the equation. That's what I don't. And it puts you at a loss for words, because you sit here and go through all these factual things, and then Charles wrote up some future agreement dependent on multiple variables being met at certain times, which historically all of his dates have never been met, to be able to do a certain thing, and then that's what people are guaranteeing and basing everything off of their investment. And sometimes people have made money and all that stuff, but I think the SEC is going to come down on them as far as the United States goes. And then basically because the US dollar at the current moment is still the financial reserve. You know, if the U.S. makes a lot of regulatory changes in something like crypto, a majority of other nations and other countries would go ahead and adopt similar or the same type of things, which they're not even ahead of everything. You know, places like El Salvador are way ahead. So people are not taking that into consideration, and that's also a big part of this. And just so many people are going to be blindsided, caught off guard, and we know that. We've been talking about that for the longest, but to just see it play out exactly how we talked about, exactly how we explained, and then go over this broad base of information that is public and people completely ignore it or shut it down or bring up ad hominems about something else to divert away from what you're saying that has credibility, you know, to be able to ignore it. I mean, they're just missing out and doing it to themselves and the people who listen to them. So we just got to keep our heads up, because we're in there, we're in the fight, things are happening, and you know, we're right at the end. I mean, everybody is looking at EOS. I still think back to quotes like Dan Larimer talking about how, you know, people in Washington, all the people in Washington want to talk to Block One. Well, that didn't just stop with people in the last administration. Most of the people in the last administration are part of the current administration, which were part of the former administration. So it's like these people know what's going on. They're just not telling you so that they can benefit the most from it. And we're trying to benefit too. So I just wanted to put that out there. Stoffel Baker out.